So here we are, just outside the little supermarket in the square at West Outer. Just bought some supplies for the day before we just head off to visit some of the World War I cemeteries in the local area. So we're just heading out through the town here, and there's a little bar that we went to, well, both nights we were staying there, just on the left up here, Vertier, I think it's called, just there with the red umbrellas all folded. Really recommended, really friendly staff in there, they sort us out both nights. Yeah, definitely recommended. If you're in the town, definitely go and look them up. Yeah, got that, Rose. Oh yeah. Oh, there's lots of Jeeps and cool. Brilliant. Cool. Well, it's a bit of a cheap convoy. Cool. Cool. I love that. So we're just going through a little Belgian town called Locker, L-O-K-E-R. Pronunciation is probably really bad. We just came across this convoy of World War II Jeeps. It was great to see them just trucking up the road past us. Just coming into the town square here. Really, really picturesque. I have to say, I'd love to go back to Belgium again. So many places that we just didn't have time to stop. Like these little villages that you go through that, you know, with the church in the central square. Really, really picturesque old cobbled streets. But you do notice that there's more than a smattering of modern buildings. You know, it's nestled in between some of the original ones. So you've seen, you know, there's seen quite a lot of fighting in this area over the past sort of century or so. A bit peculiar coming from England, you know, seeing all this countryside where we're used to everything being so sort of permanent and undisturbed, and yet you come, you know, not very far away, and this land has been fought over, well, on and off, you know, over the last few hundred years, and there's, you know, a cemetery which is going past. So yeah, a bit of an eye opener. Okay. Can we park on the grass there? So yeah, here we are coming up to our first stop, which is at the Wolvergem Lindenhoek Road Military Cemetery, which is where my great-grandfather Robert is laid to rest. So we're going to go and visit his grave and just get a sort of general appreciation of his final resting place. So I wasn't really quite sure, how I was going to feel about this, but actually standing by his grave and seeing where he's laid to rest, and the views over the countryside, and how I must say all the Commonwealth War graves sites were absolutely immaculately kept. I mean, you can see it's almost like they've had a straight edge on the hedge there, and all the turf was pristinely cut, flowers tended, and graves were immaculately clean. They're doing an absolutely fantastic job, and it was quite something to stand there and lean on the gravestone of the man who, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, and obviously neither would any of my predecessors, who we never got to meet, which is quite sad. Oh, hang on guys, I've got all my gear on and left my keys in my pocket. So, goodbye to great granddad. So that was Hoiverland, where my great grandfather's laid to rest, and we're just heading out to see some World War I trenches now, and we'll rejoin the video action when we get there. Look at this fantastic countryside. So we're just coming up on the site of the famous truce. I think it was 1915, World War I, where the Germans and the British got out of the trenches and played football in no man's land. And apparently this is the actual site that took place. It was quite astounding how close the two trenches were together. It was only a matter of a few yards to easily been able to hear everyone speak, in either trench. And this is the memorial that's there with all the footballs and wreaths. And one football, this one, it's worth freezing this frame. It had a particularly poignant message written on it. It's quite moving. So while we were at the football truce site there, Andy had a call from his wife, and it turns out one of her relatives is buried just up the road. So we're taking the opportunity to go and have a look while we're here. Just park in the front there, Chief, between the lions. So this is the, my pronunciation is going to be awful, the Plugsteert Memorial, which is erected for the Royal Berkshire Regiment, which is where one of Andy's wife's relatives is buried. Okay chaps, rock and roll.
So just had a quick lunch stop. I'll have to look up where it was later on and put that as a title on the bottom of the video because I can't remember. And we're heading off to another cemetery where one of Andy's relatives is buried down near Arras. So we got about an hour and a bit's ride, and hopefully we'll see some sights on the way.
It's amazing as you go through the landscape. You know, there's literally all nationalities represented. So the memorial we're going past here is Portuguese. You know, so all the countries of Europe pretty much are represented somewhere. You know, across the battlefields. It's quite incredible. So as at this point I kind of realised I'd forgotten to change the batteries in the GoPros at lunch, and they all ran out. And unfortunately we didn't get to the cemetery in Arras where Andy's relative was buried due to a street celebration. We just couldn't get anywhere near it, so we moved straight on to Foychi Chapel cemetery where my other great grandfather is buried. So that's my dad's mum's father. So again, immaculately kept, and you know, it's quite an honour to be able to stand there and lean on the grave, you know, knowing that everything they went through and they didn't get to see any of their offspring, and you know, and all their subsequent offspring through the generations. You know, it's quite sobering. But again, you know, an amazing spot. The views, as you'll see in a minute, from the cemetery are just incredible. I mean, we did have a brilliant day for it. You know, it's although it was a bit breezy, you know, beautiful blue sky and puffy clouds really did sort of set it all off. Yeah, absolutely amazing time, and to be there, you know, with some lifelong friends. To sort of share the moment, just really set it off. So apparently there was actually a chapel on this site originally, but in the later parts of World War One, during some of the offensives, the chapel was completely obliterated by artillery fire. So and it's never been rebuilt. So although it's referred to as Foychi Chapel, there isn't actually any building there. All clear. Right, so we're just leaving Foychi Chapel, I think that's the right pronunciation, British War Cemetery, where my great grandfather is buried, who was my dad's mum's father. So also I'll stick some of the drone footage and photographs that we took there. In the video, and now we're just heading back to base camp, and I think we're going to stop at a town which we've kind of coined between us as Las Vegas, because it kind of looks a bit like a mini Las Vegas, but none of us can remember what it's called. But we're going to take the less scenic motorway route back, and just for speed and convenience really. And to pick the motorway up, we've had to go just up the road, all around the roundabout, and there's the cemetery there. Quite a pleasant spot. And that's goodbye to great granddad Walter.
Is anyone else going by?
There's Andy on his ZX1000, the gas guzzler, and that's Stuart on his BMW GS, Ben on his Tiger 800, and then out in the distance somewhere there is Rory on his Tiger 1200, who we'll catch up with in a minute.
There's some remnants of the Second World War there. And there's another bunker. Yeah.
So this is just coming down the main drag into West Outer, just before you hit the square. And this little, the friterie just there with the little outdoor eating area just there, little takeaway on the walk down into town. Again,
okay, road's all clear, no cars coming.
Again, really recommended. Really good food and a pretty good choice. Yeah, so if you're looking for somewhere to stay, West Outer, highly recommended.
And here we are, home sweet home.